Another core value at All People's Church that we hold dear is empowerment and multiplication. Empowerment and multiplication. Now, for us to complete the mission that God has given us, it can't be just on me or any of the other pastors, the people who are on the stage. This beautiful picture of Christ in you, the hope of glory, as Colossians says, and Ephesians chapter 2 talks about this idea that we are filling the world. As Christ fills us, we fill the world. And as we fill the world with His glory, His presence. And for us to fulfill this mission, we cannot do it unless every single person, every Christian is mobilized. So for them to be mobilized, they need to know that they're first of all called. I think this is something that we have lost, that we haven't regained back from the Reformation, from Rome. This idea that we have all these little mini popes and they do the ministry, they do the work, they do the blessings, they do the forgiving and the confessing and all that kind of stuff. But no, the reality is this beautiful picture that theologians call the priesthood of all believers. All believers are called to be priests, that collectively, together, when everyone is playing their part, we can fulfill the mission that God has given us. Now, including in every person playing their part, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 16 talks about when every part is playing, it's doing its role, then we can be mature. Which is crazy. Which means that if you're not playing your part that God has given you, no matter how shy you are, or no matter how ungifted you think you are, if you're not using the gifts God has called you, I cannot be as fully mature as God has for me. Isn't that crazy? That I need you and you need me. We need each other, and God has called us to be different parts of the body. And so at All Peoples, we want to empower our people. We don't want to hog the power or try to have all the gifts and use all the gifts. I'm not the church by myself. I need the rest of you. I need all of us playing and working our part. So we're going to be very intentional about equipping you for this work of ministry. According to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 12, my primary role is to equip the saints for the work of ministries. At least one of my primary roles is that I'm going to night and day labor to help you do what God has called you, to help identify your gifts, how God has uniquely wired you so you can use it for the mission of God. And it may not be you preaching or teaching on the stage. It may look very different than me. And that's how we need, as a community, to help you figure out how to do that. Now, coupled with empowerment is this idea of multiplication. If you know even basics of math, you know that multiplication always beats addition. And so we want to be a church that doesn't continually add and add and add and try to become the biggest church possible, where because I'm gifted and I want everyone to see my gift. No, we want as much as possible to see the whole church released. The people, one of the first vision statements I wrote for this church is releasing the people of God for the purpose of God. This picture that we in us, all of us have these gifts, and if we would just release and multiply ourselves. And so one of my biggest jobs is to replace myself. That's my job, is to replace myself. And when we can start replacing ourselves, then we're going to start seeing true multiplication. And so that also implies that we are going to plant churches. Instead of becoming the biggest church possible, we're going to try to plant more churches, raise up more pastors, more leaders, more planting teams, and sending them out so that they can reach their context specifically, contextually, in the way that their contexts need to be reached. We're also going to seek to grow primarily through conversion from people who don't know Jesus, rather than just adding more Christians and seeing if we can have a better show, a better service than other churches. And I like the way they preach, or I like their music, or I like their style. No. We want to grow primarily through those who have never darkened the door of a church building. And so that is our heart. So we want to be a church that constantly empowers our people to use to know their gifts, to use their gifts, and to mobilize them, and to multiply ourselves as a church.